Hello, it is April 11th, and I'm out doing some bee work today. I have been able to get through all of my hives. I had 42 going into winter. I've lost 5, so not too bad. What I've kind of found interesting though is I've had 4 hives that went drone layer. The queens went drone layer, and 3 of them, the queen wasn't there anymore. They had dispatched the queen somewhere along the way. But I've never had that many go drone layer. In fact, I rarely have anything go drone layer in the first thing in the spring. So I'm guessing that I didn't get as good a mating last summer as I had hoped, or as I usually do. It just seems a little odd to me that I've had that many that's gone drone layer on me first thing in the spring. One hive, that first hive I lost early, was a big hive. I still don't know why it died. I found the queen. She was there. Big cluster, plenty of food. I checked for mites after they died. I'd kind of went through and tried to find any mites I could. I couldn't find any mites, so I'm not really sure what happened to them. One hive was just a really small cluster. The other 3 were drone layer. I do have one more that's gone drone layer. They hadn't dispatched of the queen yet, so I dispatched the queen, and I have some queens that I just picked up yesterday that I'm going to be dropping in hives today. So I'm going to drop a new queen in that hive. I'm not going to count it as a loss yet, because it had plenty of bees in it. It's got 2 boxes of bees, so plenty of bees. So if I can get a queen in there, I think they're going to be okay. Got 1 or 2 others that were a little small, and the queen pattern's not that great, so I'm going to replace them. And the rest I'm just going to make up some more nukes with. And I think I'm going to start another yard this year and kind of increase my production colony count from 24 to probably 32. And but I bought 12 queens, went and picked them up yesterday, and I'll just see how far they go. I've got them banked out here in one of my nooks. I just quickly last night grabbed all the queens and pulled a nuke out of one of these hives and gave them plenty of bees, and dropped the queens in their cages, and just so they could take care of those queens tonight until I could get to them today. But that's the plan for today, is just to make a few splits, requeen a couple of hives, and hopefully we're good to go. The weather's going to be pretty nice for the next 10 days, at least according to the web. So trees are blooming. My apple trees are going to be a couple of more weeks before they bloom. Apricots are blooming now if they didn't get froze, and we've got forsythia, and the flowering plums are going to start blooming, cherries. So we're just about to kick off here, and the weather's going to be nice, so I think it's going to be good for the bees for the next couple of weeks. And hopefully get these queens in and get them off and running. And I don't usually buy queens this time of year. I don't mind doing that. I've got hives that are plenty big. I can easily pull a nuke out of them, and they'll not skip a beat. In fact, a few of them probably need to have a nuke pulled out of them. They're too big. And I don't need them peaking quite yet, but I don't mind bringing in some queens this time of year. If you've got access to mated queens, then sure, you can bring them in to our area this time of year and not have any problem. Just make a strong split, a good 3 frames of bees and brood, and they'll be fine. I don't like raising queens this time of year out in my area. It's too early. our weather's too unpredictable, and it's just too early. There's not a good drone population. I've talked with the local commercial beekeeper, and their bees are still getting trucked back in from California, and they're going to be the next 2 or 3 weeks bringing all their bees back. And honestly, that's where my drone population comes from. So I don't want to raise queens until they're back and their hives are up and going again. I just talked to one of the workers, and they're going to be the next couple of weeks bringing them back. So it's too early. I think it's too early to raise queens out here. I prefer to at least wait well into May, and usually when I raise my queens is June. Towards the end of June is when I have them start coming off, and I like it that way. I like my summer queens. They do well. They get good mating. Drones are populous, and I think it's just a great time to raise queens about June around here. And they usually do really well coming out of winter the following year. So this year I had a few losses, but that's to be expected, and I'm okay with what I've got. And we're gonna make a few increases here, and hopefully our bee season's off and running. I'll bring you along and show you what I've done so far. All right, let me show you what I've got going here. So last night, after I got home and got these queens, I came out and just made a quick split out of them. And I needed some place to keep those queens overnight, and I decided maybe the best thing to do was just go ahead and make one of my splits. So if you look down in here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Move this little bit of pollen patty. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 queens here. So I'll pull each one of these queens out one by one and make a split off some of these hives here, and then I've got some hives out in the other yards that I'm going to make some splits off too. And that's the plan for the day. Some of these hives are here in this yard. These 3 that are in single boxes, and then one of these over here in these nukes is more than enough. Is more than big enough to make a split off. So here's 3, and I'm thinking this one in the back in this Apimae hive, I'm thinking it's more than big enough to make a split off of too. So I think we'll pop into these and hurry and pull a split off of them, and drop some queens in. So here's the first one. What I am going to do with these splits is I'm going to use a double screen board on a couple of them, just because I have 2 double screen boards. Here's one of the double screen boards. One entrance on this side, one entrance on this side. So I'll pull a split out of one of these, and then the double screen board will go on top, and the splits will go on top of that. Easy peasy. Let's look at this one for a minute. See if I think this one's plenty big to get a split out of. And maybe even 2 splits. Oh yeah, I think we can pull a split off of that one. I'm going to set these right here next to it. And I've just got some empty frames. A couple of them have a little bit of honey on them. I'm going to make sure the new hive has at least one good honey frame. That's this one. Find a couple of frames of brood. Let's see if we can find some brood here. A little bit of pollen. There's a pretty good brood frame. I don't want tons of larvae, but capped brood's great. A little bit of larvae down in the cells, but not tons. I'm gonna check for my queen. Don't see hers. There's one. There's another good capped brood frame. Again, check for my queen. I'm not seeing her. Right, there's two. This hive's got 2 full boxes of bees, so I may get more than one split out of this. Still no sign of my queen. There's 3 frames. That's a good split. Lots of pollen on that one. Pollen and eggs. I don't really want to pull this frame for a split. Empty. Pollen. Okay, so that's probably all I'm getting out of that one. Put this back together. These frames are empty, so that'll give this queen places to lay. Probably ought to put this one frame that's mostly brood a little more in the middle here. There we go. All right. Now I can set this on top. And now they just need a queen. So I'll come over here and pull one of these queens out. There's my queen. She's a blue dot queen. She's a 2025 queen. And I'm just going to slide her. Give myself plenty of room. Just going to slide her right. I guess I could use the... Well, that didn't work very well. Push that right down in between. Snug those up a little bit. And there we go. There's one. Let's see what we can find here in this little hive. One of these was not quite as big as the other, so it may not be big enough to really want to split. Oh, I'd say that's plenty big. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see what we've got here. A little bit of drone brood mixed in with that worker brood. That concerns me a little bit, but it's early in the season, so I'm not too concerned yet. Let's see if I can still see eggs and larvae down here. I can still see larvae. There's a good brood pattern. Nothing wrong with this queen. And I do have a few drones. Here's a drone. Okay, there's a good brood frame to give to the nuke. And yes, I'm making these splits rather strong. We still get down in the 30s at night, so I want them to have enough bees to keep everybody warm. It's not a bad frame. I haven't found my queen yet. Don't really need to see her as long as I don't move her to the nuke. Okay, maybe that one. And there's another frame that's pretty good. Okay, those frames weren't as covered in bees as I'd like. So I'm going to shake off a couple of frames and just give this hive a little bit more boost. I want to make sure I don't get my queen. Bunch of drone brood, but I've got a good solid pattern going here. I don't see my queen. A little shake of bees there. Maybe one more shake of bees. Keep in mind, any of the foragers will just come home, so not all of those bees will stay. Okay. I think that's pretty good. And I can see there's still plenty of bees down in the bottom box. This hive's gonna be ready to sell as a nook. I'll break it out to a nook before I sell it. Okay, those gals look pretty good. You can see I've got a good split here. Now all they need's a queen. Oh, silly me, I didn't put the candy plug in these queens. I'm gonna have to take that one out. Forgot a crucial step here. So I need to take this cork out and not let the queen out while I do this. Okay, so they should have a candy plug here. And you can take a nail and poke through this candy a little bit. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put her down in here. Some people like to do that. I get it. Makes sense, but I'm just going to put her down. You need to make sure the screen isn't facing against the comb. You want to make sure the screen's open so the bees can get to her. Right down like that. I like to get her down in there quite a bit. There. Kind of snug those up. Okay. There's one. Let's go back and fix the one I didn't do right. They won't get her out of that cage if I don't take that cork out. That wasn't very smart of me. They're kind of trying to get at that queen. And see how these bees are this one's kind of hunched over. She's really latched onto that. She does not care for that queen right the moment. She's really latched on there. Yeah, see, these gals don't want to move. So they don't accept her as their queen yet. I don't know if you can see this or not. See these bees? I'm trying to push them out of the way a little bit. They don't want to move very well. They don't really accept her as their queen yet. And they are kind of trying to get in and get at her. And they're not very happy that she's there. So we're gonna... And the candy plug will take a couple of days for them to eat through that candy plug. This candy's fairly hard, so I may have to come back and put a hole in the candy anyway, but for now I'm just going to do this. So don't let her come out. So she's in there. Got the there, that's what I should have done beforehand. And she's in there, she's alive, now she can go back in the hive. Put her back down in there. A couple of days, they'll decide she's okay because she's the only queen they've got. So I am going to give these hives just a little bit of pollen sub, not a ton. They need a little bit just to get them going. But they don't need a whole pound. And I can come back in a day or two and give them a bit more if I need to. Now, the only thing they don't have is syrup, and I'll have to come back and give them some. I'll put bucket feeders on these. For now, this will keep them going. There's enough honey in those frames to keep them going for several days. Thought I'd just show you what it looks like when you have a queen that goes drone layer on you. This hive did that. As you can see, it's still a pretty good size hive. There's still a lot of bees here. But if the queen's drone layer, then the hive's doomed. So let's see if I can pull a couple of frames of drone frames here and show you what it looks like. I can just getting into the hive, you can just hear this roar. They're much more agitated than a regular hive would be. Lots of pollen. Bee bread. Let's see if they've got any brood left. It's a little hard to see on this frame. Maybe if I shake bees off a little bit, I can show you better. See how these cells are raised? All of these cells were worker brood cells and were nice and flat. See how nice and flat these are? But these are raised, and they've had to draw the cells out and up, trying to make room for those bigger drones. Same thing on this side. These were all worker brood cells, and the comb level was nice and even all the way across. But now they've raised those cells up above the rest, and it's really a spotty pattern. So this tells me these are drone cells, or drones in worker-sized cells, and the workers have drawn those cells up a little higher, trying to make room for those bigger drones. And that's a telltale sign that we've got a drone laying queen. Now I gave these, wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to get some queens or not, so I gave this hive a frame of brood, and I notched a couple of spots here, like right here. See, they didn't build a single queen cell right there, and they didn't build one right there. I think I had one over here somewhere too. They didn't build a single queen cell, but I can see they've tried to build a queen cell down here, and there's royal jelly in it, but there's no larvae in it. They're so desperate. Same here, there's royal jelly in there, but there's not any larvae in there. And then what's around it are more drone cells. So even the frame I notched, trying to give them something they could work with and build a queen out of, that didn't suffice. And I was afraid that might happen. Again, I'm seeing cells that are really spotty brood pattern, and the cells are raised up above the normal level of the comb. So this hive was doomed. Now we just got to give them a queen, see if they'll take her. There's my queen, she's in there. Gonna drop her down in this hive and hopefully get this hive going again. I'll come back and check them in about 4 or 5 days and see if they've released her. Make sure everything's good. Put this hive back together and we're done here. So I finally got through making up these extra boxes of nooks for these queens that I bought. So I'll just give you a little update of where I'm at now. I made 11 nukes, and I used one of the queens to requeen the hive that had gone drone layer. So I don't really count that as a loss. The hive's still doing fine. It'll be okay. Get another queen in there right quick and they'll take off. So to me, not really a loss. I had to replace the queen, but the hive's not dead, so I don't count that as a loss. But anyway, I've got, so final counts for the year. Started with 42, lost 5. That put me down to 37. And now I've added 12. That gets me up to 49. So we'll see how we go from there. I'll be selling a few of these nooks, probably a dozen of them. Some of them, most of them will be from my stock. If I have to dig into these queens that I bought, in 3 weeks they're going to be ready to go, and I'll be able to tell whether they're going to be good queens or not. So if I need to, I'll use some of those. But as it looks, I think I'm looking pretty good. I've got I've been through pretty much all of my hives. I reversed the boxes, put the bottom box on the top and the top box on the bottom is really all I did. And all the hives are looking pretty good. We just need some good weather, some good pollen and some nectar, and get these bees going, but they should be doing okay. I'm hoping we're kind of through the cold weather and we're off into spring now and ready to go. I'm excited to get the bee season going. Finally getting over my cold. I probably still sound like I'm got a little froggy, and I do, but I'm slowly getting there. So sometimes I think you just have to sweat it out, and I did that today. So nice warm day and beautiful day to be working bees. So as you can see, we haven't had any water. We need some water, but I don't want it to come in form of snow right now. I wouldn't mind it raining a little for a day, but anyway, we're off to a pretty good start for the year. Hopefully your bees are doing well too. Catch you on the next one.